Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Comeback Player. I'm Jason, the guy who's trying to come back on the trumpet. I have had a rough week. So Monday, when I had my lesson, things were going good. I got the new assignments to work on from Jacob, my teacher, and thought that was great. Tuesday, I went to go practice and start working on those assignments, and I could not get this trumpet to make a dang sound. It was kind of freaky. I was actually really worried. I took some quick video. I eventually was blowing hard enough to get the lips vibrating and got some notes out, but this is what it sounded like at the end of it there. I only tried playing for maybe 15, 20 minutes and then gave up, but here's what it sounded like. As soon as I was done, I was like, okay, something's not right. Maybe at 53, I'm just too old to learn how to play the trumpet again, and I've just overdone it. And my daughter plays the flute. Maybe I should just grab her flute and take up the flute. It sounded like a plan to me. I wrote Jacob an email and explained to him what was going on, and he gave me some suggestions. And one of them was hydrate. And I thought, hydrate? Why should I hydrate? And then I looked it up, and there's not a ton of information on hydration and brass playing, but there is some. And one of the things that I found was when you're dehydrated, your lips dry out, they don't vibrate as well. This is your reed, and so when it dries out, it gets harder to vibrate and make noise. What I noticed was I was just doing the long tones out of the Arbin book, and things were going along fine. And then all of a sudden, I mean, it just happened out of the blue. I was coming back down, and I got to that middle G, and I went to blow it, and it sounded muffled and dirty and nasty. And I mean, I could just tell it wasn't right. And no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to sound right. And I was like, okay, that's just weird. Maybe something's messed up with my horn here. I mean, it is an old horn. I've fixed it up myself. I don't know what the heck I've done to this thing. I don't know if it's right or wrong. I just wanted to get it to play. So I didn't freak out right then and there. But then I went back down and I was like, okay, let me just try a scale here. Did a C major scale. And as I'm going up, C, D, E, F, hit that G, and sounded the exact same. And then I went up to an A, and it sounded the exact same. And then a B, and it sounded the exact, and everything G'ing up. I just could not get the sound right. And I was like, that is just freaky. Let me try it again. And I started on the low C again and started going up. And this time it started happening on the low E or F. And I was like, what is going on here? I don't know how to. Anyways, eventually I was like blowing so hard just to get the notes out. And that's when I took the video. And that's when I started freaking out. So anyways, next day I started hydrating at work like there was no tomorrow. And I drank water constantly. I was peeing like there was no tomorrow. And Tuesday or Wednesday, this would be Wednesday, came home from work and started my practice session, and I was so nervous. It was like, what if this doesn't work? And I didn't run the video camera, but it was much better. Wasn't perfect yet, but it was so much better. It was a relief. And I was like, okay, hydration. That's the key. Come Thursday, I started feeling a little tickle in my throat, and my sinuses were acting up a little bit. And by the time I got home from work, I'm just feeling like crap. And at first I was thinking, okay, I got COVID. It's sort of what it feels like. But I took a COVID test. We got a bunch of home tests here, and I didn't have COVID, or at least it came back negative. But I was still getting worse. And so I figured, okay, just a cold, whatever. I'll just take the day off from practicing, get back at it tomorrow. Friday comes along, I'm even worse. Saturday comes along, I'm even worse. Here it is Sunday, and I don't know, you can still hear it in my voice. I'm still not anywhere close to 100%, but I figured it's been 3 days since I've blown any air through this thing, and I went and practiced today. And it was just a real quick one, just again, because I was so nervous. I mean, basically, it's been a while since I've had a good practice session, and so I'm a little nervous about how much to do, and the way I feel is like I don't want to overdo it. So just some simple slurs. And then a couple of times through the C major scale. And then there's a piece out of that beginner's trumpet book. It's by Haydn, actually. I can't remember the name of it, but I've been working on that. There's some parts that have been a little tricky for me. And so I just started working on that a little bit. And again, not perfect. Sounds okay, though. I mean, it sounds better than where I have been. And then my daughter, the flute player, and my son, the drummer, want to do a Christmas thing when family comes here over Christmas. And so I grabbed out a couple of the tunes that they wanted to do and worked on those a little bit, which are good because it's got a little bit higher range. It's kind of at the limits of where I am range-wise, maybe not quite, but I mean we're close, and so it's good to force myself to play up there a tad. But I worked on those. And then I called it a day, and here I am. So my takeaways for this week are stay hydrated. I cannot believe how big of an issue that actually was. And maybe it's just because I'm older. You know, your skin starts losing collagen and things just don't move as smoothly as when you're young. So maybe it's more of an issue as you get older. But I notice for my age and the condition I'm in, which is not, and I'm not totally out of shape, but I'm definitely not in great shape. And so I think I learned a real important lesson there about hydration. That's good for you anyways. Drink lots of water. So that was my key this week, and I apologize for not doing more, but I also don't want to push it because I feel like crap. I do want to say I am amazed again at how fast this channel is growing and how many comeback players there are. As of today, there's 170 some subscribers and over 3,000 views on the videos. And I've only been doing this. This is like video 4 or something. So it's just, it's overwhelming, actually, in the positive messages everybody's sending. I do have a couple of people that said they'd love to share their stories about playing and their comeback journeys. Actually, one's not a comeback player, but my other fascination, my other interest is musical. What do I want to say? Musical exposure in other countries. In America, the United States, most schools start somewhere 4th, 5th grade, somewhere in there. And the local music store comes and they lay out all the instruments, and kids go in with their parents and they hand them an instrument and say, here, make a noise. And kids get to pick the instrument, and that's usually what they're stuck with for quite a while. Sometimes in high school you can branch out into other instruments, but for the most part, that's when kids are exposed to music. And I don't know what it's like in other countries. I don't know if it's similar or dissimilar, and so I'm curious about that as well. And I had a young man reach out, I think from Sweden, and um, said he'd be glad to talk about his experience. He's a trombone player, I think. So, anyways, I'm gonna do some videos interviewing these folks and chatting about it, and so I'll put those up if anybody else is interested in those. Maybe other people have the same curiosities, but that'll be in addition to the rest of this. So, anyways, that's it for this week. Thank you again, and I will catch you next week where my lesson is tomorrow. I already talked to Jacob and said I haven't had much practice this week. What you gave me to work on, I have not really worked on. And if you want to skip it and just wait till after the holidays, and he's like, no, come on. Well, if you can't play, if you're not feeling good enough to play, then we'll do music theory or something. Another thing I wanted to have a better knowledge base on. So I'm going to start the week again tomorrow, and then the holidays come, and who the heck knows what it's going to be like. But still having fun, still doing my best to play, and still getting through one day at a time. Stay hydrated. Go practice. I'll see you on the next one.